Welcome to the day 20 challenge. Today's subject is emotion, especially expression. So what kind of sound represent what what kind of sound represents what kind of emotion? We don't have one size fits all answer for this question, so you need to look for your answer by trying different sound out of harp and observe what kind of emotion or feeling is provoked inside of you. So let's explore that together. To express emotion through music, we need to connect our emotion to sound. So connection means when we have that type of emotion, uh, we may make that kind of sound, or if you hear that type of sound, we start having emotion. So we need to verify what kind of sound would create what kind of emotion. And then when you want to express this kind of emotion, and you can choose the right kind of sound representing this emotion. So only way to accumulate the knowledge or data about this is just trying to yourself with your emotion and with your instrument. So what is emotion? Actually, emotion and the feeling is different. Emotion is more like a short-term reaction to the impression. For example, this crap, it's like a very big sound. Actually, our reaction is, ooh, surprise. Oh, what kind of sometimes it's scary. So that kind of a very moment to moment reaction to the impression is we call emotion. And on the other hand, feeling is what you experience after you hear certain length of series of sound, like a phrase. So this is more like a human emotion. But I don't want to use the word emotion because it's so confusing. So in a way, we have an emotion moment to moment to as a response to the impression we are taking moment to moment, and a feeling is more like a grand experience after going through so many impressions and experience different emotions in each moment in the music. And then as a big piece, entire piece or big section of the music, we have kind of human emotion called feeling. So, oh, this music reminded me of my childhood or my very kind grandmother or whatever. It's more complicated internal experience is called feeling. So now I'm talking about emotion, which is more like a immediate interaction with the impression. So we can try something with a single note. Let's say, so if I play C, pluck C strings, and so what kind of emotion you want to create or you want to feel? So it can be very simple, like warmth, warm feeling, or sharp, like a shock, surprising kind of impression. So the warm feeling, so intuitively, I think it's good idea to give a very good pressure, like ample pressure to the strings, and then very, very intentionally release the strings around the center of the string. Or probably I need to have a little more air breathing. But if I use the thumb, maybe I try the left thumb. And then you can find warmth. The sharpness is probably I'm gonna place my finger a little bit shallower. My fingertip is barely on the strings. And this way, I can get a little sharper, or I can play much closer to the fingerboard, and I can get definitely the sharp sound. And so same principle I can apply to the phrasing. So expressive, like some feeling start coming up toward me, like filling up my chest with certain emotion. In that case, actually, let's say I play the scale, right? So I might play with lots of tension, but try to play in the center of the strings. I go probably crescendo, and then last note I just nicely touch down. It's kind of, I feel like this is kind of round, and then feeling some kind of emotional energy comes up. Or if I want to do the sharp, actually, probably I do it more even. Not too much crescendo, just more like from the beginning to the end, it's pretty strong. This is more like, how do you call it? More square, and instead of round emotion comes, it's more like a be aware of something, that kind of energy. So it's like waking up or marching, like a military march, or very gentle, everything is gentle. This brings me more like a echoing, like a remembering something, that type of emotional energy I can feel. So yeah, I started using the word emotional energy because sometimes if you focus on just emotion, like a scare or happy or pleasure, it's too specific. And sometimes music cannot describe such specific energy. So instead, like emotional energy, like a very strong emotional energy, or gentle but building up slowly, that kind of energy, or like a starting with a full of energy and kind of releasing, that type of sound. Or if you take emotion as the flow of energy, and sometimes it's easier to grasp that way. If we extend this practice to the chord, let's say if I play C major chord from middle C on the thumb of the left hand, and the octave lower C on the fourth finger, C, E, right hand E, G, C. So this chord, right? If you arpeggiated the chord, it becomes much round energy. And if you do it more like a plucking simultaneously all the strings, then you get more crisp, like a bouncing energy, like a energy punk, instead of open up slowly. It's more like a punk. So, and also if you pluck lower, right, lower part of the strings, it becomes harder sound. And if you pluck everything together, it's pretty how do you call, punchy, like has lots of punch, the strings. And then more subtle and softer, but kind of fullness. It's like something subtle, something quiet, but sometimes that has a lot of emotional energy. That type of sound, I give an ample pressure on the strings, and let it go together, or something like that. So probably you cannot hear the difference so much because this is pretty poor quality recording. So what I've been doing is just example. You can explore the connection between the emotion you intend and the sound. So sometimes I experiment, I don't get a good result. In that case, I just change the way to do it, and until I find the good sound representing the emotion I intend to express. So once you succeed, try to memorize or remember how you did it. Oh, this type of sound actually is connected to this emotion. So I want to express this type of emotion. Maybe I need to play this way. That kind of knowledge makes your performance way much more artistic and emotional, or connecting to the audience. So this is just an example how I do, but you can do your own way. But the point is, just don't play without any intention. When you make sound, okay, what kind of sound I want to make? What kind of emotion I want to represent with the music? And then play. And then if your music outcome is aligned with your intention, remember how you did it. And if it wasn't successful, keep exploring a different way. So I hope you can enjoy this type of exercise. When you succeed to align your intention and your sound, remember the whole picture of that moment. In the moment you verify your music is aligned to your intention, most likely your attention is distributed among playing and listening and self-observation in a good balance. So you naturally have a good holistic view of what's happening in the moment. And you can see how these elements integrated and create the result. I want you to do one more thing there, that is bringing the intention to remember the whole picture. A holistic musician see a good performance as a result of not just physical activities, but also thought, emotion,
and the state of body awareness in that moment, and integration of these elements. If you recall the whole internal state connected to a good performance, including thought, emotion, body awareness, you can reproduce the result by simply creating the same internal environment. In this way, you work on your internal state first, then external result comes out through your body as a result. Our internal world is totally ours. We can have total control on it if we intend to do so and practice it. On the other hand, our external world is only partially under our control. I consider my body, my own body, is in between internal and external world. It's only halfway under my control. I can't control the mechanical interaction unconsciously happening between my body and the environment so much. But I have the power to control my attention and awareness on it. That's why I include body awareness as a part of internal world, but not the body itself. So working on something you have control over first, then move on to your body that has only a half control on. If you just focus on techniques and the music, you still may be able to get a good musical outcome as an acoustic physical phenomenon that is clear performance without wrong notes or mistakes. But it's hard to get the alignment between your intention and the music. It means your music is, quote unquote, spiritually empty. Remember, you are the master of your internal state. You can have total control on it if you want. So working on something you have control over first, your internal world, and then move on to your own body that you can have only partial control. So now I want to talk about tips for remembering the whole picture of the moment of successful performance or good performance. As we put the name or tag on the data we store in a computer, tag the successful performance experience with short description so that we can recall it quickly and easily when you need it later. The description can be about one of the elements among playing, listening, or self-observation, because when you can remember one thing, you will be reminded of other things in sequence. So in my case, this description take a form of short command. There are general commands applies for any pieces of music as well as more piece-specific ones. For example, breathe deep with clarifying the intention of the piece. So I have a very successful experience by doing this, and then other function is integrated with and then so working together. So if I tell myself breathe deep with clarifying the intention of the piece, let's say this happens right before performance, breathe deep. So this command actually can apply to any performance, for example, right? So another one is, this is all examples, right? This is not the answer. So this is one of the examples I'm doing. Feel the gravity lying in the center of my body. So I talk about gravity a lot in this 21 days challenge lectures. But anyway, so if I try to feel the gravity, my body awareness is elevated to the very good level. And after that, my body start figure out the most optimal way to execute my techniques. So this one command can make the chain reaction, a good chain reaction, and make my condition, my internal condition, a very good one, promising the good outcome. So this is also a general application. And then the last one is more piece-specific command, like visualize a certain scenery, past experience, or landscape. For example, I have original composition called On the Way Home. When I come up with the idea of this tune, I was driving back home after like 7 days of commitment for the gigs. I had to go away from home. And I was thinking about seeing my kids and spending time with family. And then that warm emotion led me write this music. So when I'm performing on this piece, I try to visualize the good memory with my kids and family around that time. So, and then actually, I usually perform very well this piece. So, for example, this is one of the example. So, something like the visualization of certain scene or experience or landscape can be a very good command.